It could have been, in my opinion, it could have been better, but for the price that we paid, I think it was a good deal. So, my screen time. So,
The Bamboo Project Podcast starts in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project Podcast. I decided I want to become a billionaire doing what I already love to do every day and documenting my journey to get there. I figure I'll make all the mistakes so you don't have to. My name is DonivanGray, and this is how I will turn my life into a living. So first, I want to start off by giving a shout out to the Bamboo Project family. My goal is to see is it really possible for someone like me to be worth $1 billion. That's the goal. And my plan to get there is creating 1,000 millionaires, including myself. We are currently streaming on all major streaming platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor. You name it, we on it. And if we're not on it, we're about to be on it. For everyone listening to this podcast and not watching it, you can find us on YouTube at The Bamboo Project. We have over 300 videos on our channel. Dr. Sabi inspired cooking tutorials, we got that. Travel and lifestyle vlogs, got it. Makeup, got it. Hair growth, got it. Real estate, got it. Basketball, got it. It's everything us. We post something on our story pretty much every day. You can find me on Instagram at DonivanGray, DonivanGray, and my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, AnetaBurn, AnetaBurn. So, how many times have you been told you only have to do one thing to become successful? I hear it all the time. I personally don't agree. I think that I'm very good at multiple things. So because of that, we have 6 different projects. We have the food project, the music project, the clothing project, the fitness project, the sports project, and the Bamboo Project Podcast, which you are listening to right now. This may be your first time here, and if it is, welcome to the family. But for everyone else, this is episode 63. Chapter 2 of this story. This podcast has 4 different segments. The life update, which is a weekly update on what we went through last week. Episode playback. It's a recap of last week's episode and things I could have done better to make the episode phenomenal. Then we have Donovan's questions. It's a philosophical question that I thought about earlier in the week and say, you know what? I want to bring it to you and see what you guys think about it. And then we have the topics of the day. All video and audio timestamps will be in the description box below. Today's date is June 2nd, 6:05 p.m. So have a lot of explanation about the time and probably the background. I'll address all these things during the podcast. So today's agenda was going to be about why I believe that the world is run by insecure men and the government creating different diets. That was going to be today's topic. However, as you can see, the podcast is being shot in a different place. Things are a little different today. I have a suit on, so you know, this is a luxe podcast. So this week is gonna be more, or not this week, but this episode will be just more of a life update, kind of just where we are and what we're gonna do going forward, because things have been a little bit slow in my opinion. And honestly, I think when I tell you what happened today, everything kind of makes a little bit more sense with, I guess, where we're going in the future. So the reason that the background is different, I'm in a suit and we are shooting at 6:05 p.m. on a Wednesday, is because we are currently in Atlanta, Georgia for a funeral. And the funeral was yesterday. We came down here. I honestly have not been to funerals that much. I think in my life, I've probably been to 2. Before this one, my grandmother, my grandmother, my dad, and then this one that we went to this kind of week. So 2 in 2 years, and then 3 in my entire life. A lot of them has happening pretty soon. But the reason I came down to this one is because I felt like I kind of want to support the person's dad who died. So I figured, you know what, they're there for me, so I want to be there for them. And I always feel like I try to do more things when there are situations where I feel like I probably, if I don't want to do something, I try to go, okay, why don't I want to do this? And if the reason I don't want to do it is because I'm going to feel uncomfortable, I go, you know what, just go and do it anyways. So I kind of came down here for that reason, and it turned out to be better than I thought it was going to be. So people who know me, they will probably know that, if you know me personally, you'll know things like this. I'm not really an events person. If you listen to the podcast, can you get some water, please? If you listen to the podcast, then you will know that I'm not really an events kind of person. I think that they are kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could say useless, because I feel like, especially funerals, in my opinion, I feel like funerals are for the people who are actually here, not for the person who passed. So me personally, I'm like, you know what, I don't really see what the point of having festivities are if the person is already gone. Then everything we're doing now is not for them. So that was how I felt before today. After today's ceremony, right, I feel like, I guess I definitely don't feel the same way about funerals now, in the sense of, I think that they have an important factor. And for me, I was personally annoyed by going to the funeral today. Well, after the funeral. The reason why is because I was comparing it to what I had from my dad. And compared to what I had from my dad and what happened today, I felt like there was no energy put into what happened with my dad, or there's a lack of energy put into it. Now, I don't know. It could have been a COVID thing as far as last year when it happened. Maybe that was the reason. But I just don't feel like there was as much energy put into it. The people that spoke at today's event were a lot different. There was more speaking than what happened at my dad's event. And I also felt, when I went to my dad's event, I felt like it was, or I guess his funeral, whatever you would like to call it, I felt like it was made by the people who threw it, but also made for them. So I think things were done that they would like, as opposed to what thing that he would like. So for me, like, one thing that I had an issue with was like the brochure, the obituary, where I'm reading it and I felt like the things on there were not what my dad, or not kind of where he came from. So today, when I went and listened to people talk about their dad, or I guess their uncle, cousin, brother, nephew, son, when I heard them talk about him, I got the feeling that, okay, this funeral to me is more so for the legacy of the person that passed. The funeral, it kind of speaks to what that person has left behind, and kind of how they're still here and how they can affect life, even though they're not necessarily here physically. And when I think about it, even now, I don't think that happened at my dad's funeral. I feel like it was more so like, I feel like it was really rushed and thrown together personally, but I feel like when people were speaking now, it made me feel like, okay, I would love to have a situation where I'm able to have a funeral for myself, and then other people feel like they want to do something afterwards. I feel like if I pass and it inspires people to still do things, I feel like then that would be a great funeral. I feel like if you go to a funeral and you don't feel, this is my opinion from going to the or three, I guess, that I've been to. I feel like if you go to a funeral and you don't feel inspired to want to do more or be a better person, then I don't feel like it was a great funeral. I feel like people were talking there about how, a lot of people actually were talking about how they want to carry on what they felt like that person, their father, their cousin, uncle, nephew, whoever, instilled in them. And I feel like that was a great thing. I feel like a lot of people had a lot of positive things to say, but I don't feel like you would say a negative thing at a funeral. So, there's that. Oh, excuse me. But I guess I felt like, for me, it made me start thinking about, okay, when I pass, what do I want people to remember me as? And it's I don't really know how many people think about it like that, because you get to write your own story for the most part, and every interaction that you have with somebody, or thing that you put out there in the world, or whatever the case might be, that's who people will remember you as. And then if you do or say or act a certain way, is that how you want to be remembered by people? Now, some people may say, I don't really care how I'm remembered when I pass, which is fine. But for me, one thing that I realized from this person is that they weren't my relative personally, right? However, they still had an impact on my life, and it wasn't a very big impact. However, it was still an impact. And I think that for me as a guy, when I think about other young men or boys, whatever the case might be, I don't always take into account how the small things that I do might have impact on their life. And I think that that's something that the funeral kind of taught me, is that a lot of people may look up to you, a lot of people may look at you, and you don't even know they're looking at you for those things. But you want to act in a way that they feel like, okay, I can draw strength from seeing this person overcome this or overcome that. I can feel more confident because I saw how this person attacked the situation. And like I said, for me, I've thought about it, but I had a problem recently I've had a problem with being the older person. I've had a problem with being the person everybody looks up to. I never really liked that kind of space. I kind of like to just do what I do, and then people follow it. Then it's like, okay, that's cool. But I've never actually consciously made a decision to say, okay, I want people to. I don't want to say inspired, because I don't know if he felt like what he did was on purpose, or if he just tried to make the best of every case scenario because people might be watching. I don't really know. I've never actually got to ask him, so I don't really know that. The interactions I had with him were positive, and what I take from that is what I want other people to have when they interact with me, because there are even people I have in my life who have had impact on me that they don't even know that they've had. And I would like to be that person for a lot of other people. I would love to be able to do something and people feel like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I would love to do that same thing. Or, I had a conversation with Donivan and he said this one thing and I never forgot it. Or I remember that, when I was needed help, Donivan was there to give me some help, whatever the case might be. That's what I kind of want to do and kind of want to be known as. So I never really thought about it from that perspective, because I'm always thinking about just making my life better. I'm thinking about, okay, I want to help other people, but I don't never really think about the people behind me. I never really think about that. So this is kind of my first time actually, I guess, seeing that, because my brain's always stuck on the future. It's always like, okay, I'm going to help somebody in the future. I want to be able to help somebody when I get more. I want to be able to help somebody when I build my school or whatever I end up wanting to build. That's how I look at it. But there are people who are around me now who I interact with when I play basketball, or whether I'm talking to somebody about real estate, whether I'm talking to somebody about stocks, whatever the case might be that I'm talking to somebody about. I want them to be able to have or take something from that conversation that they can use going forward that helps them to become a better person. And another thing I learned from being there is, another reason I think for this podcast too, is I feel as though a lot of the culture that we have now, the things that we see now, are negative. And when I say negative, I mean that they are pushing you further away from having more confidence in yourself. They're pushing you away from, just being more confident, loving yourself, being. I can't say, like I said, it's really confidence. I feel like when you have confidence in yourself, everything else just falls into place, whether it be your relationships, whether it be your job, whether it be you want to get in shape. I feel like the high self-esteem comes from confidence in yourself. So when you have that, the rest of your life just falls into place. And I feel as though a lot of things we see on TV, where people are getting their body done, where people are cheating on their significant other, those are all, in my opinion, very insecure traits. And I don't think that putting those kind of, he opened the door. I don't think that putting those type of images out there and things out there is better for anybody. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about on the podcast talking to your family. And the biggest thing for me is I want people to talk to their parents as if they are on the same level, if they're your friend or somebody close to you. I feel like a lot of people feel as though their parents are above them, and because of that, they don't ask them questions that they want to know the answer to. And this has been brought up again now because of the situation. When you have somebody that you love, or you have a person that is your parent that you are around a lot, you're going to need to ask them questions. And I specifically with your mom and your dad, because I think if you grow up only believing one side of the story, which I talked about this before, it skews you as a person, because now your perspective of life is based off of what that one parent that you have around you has said. If they say that all men ain't shit, then all men ain't shit. If you're raised around a dad that says all women ain't shit, your perspective will be that, oh, you have to cheat on the girl, whatever the case is. If you don't have both people in your life and you don't talk to them, you never get to actually fall into that middle category. And you don't ever get that time back when that person dies. And I also feel like when they do pass away, it's almost like getting, in my opinion, like getting, what do you call it? Like surgery, like cosmetic surgery on your body when they get a butt implant or whatever the case is. Those are things you cannot come back from. So I don't know if it's possible or how you would fill that hole that you have if you don't communicate with your parents, because you may want to ask them like, hey, when I was 7, why did you leave me in the closet? Or when I was 10 years old, you used to beat me. Why did you do that? Because what you're going to find out is what I found out, that they are human beings. A lot of people don't know what they're doing. A lot of adults have kids at 20, 24. Think about the kids you know right now who are 20, 22, 24, 26, and they're having kids. Think about that. Your parent was the same thing at that age. So they probably have no idea what they were doing raising a kid. They just figured like, okay, I got 2 or 3 kids. I don't know what to do. I'm going to try and raise them. I think beating them worked. Let me try that. Well, they didn't like that. Now the kid, now think about it. You 22, from 22 to 34, the kid is now 12 years old. That's a long time. But think about as you right now is 22-year-old to being 34. That time frame isn't the same for you, because your life is pretty much on the, I don't want to say on the tail end, but you've pretty much already had the biggest experience of your life. You don't really have those traumatic experiences as when you were a kid. When you were 8 years old, everything was so big to you. If your parent yelled at you, oh my God, the world came to an end. If your parent left you outside, oh my God, the world came to an end. Those things were very monumental to you as a child. So those are the things that are going to shape who you are as a person. I'm having a difficult time trying to communicate this, but the thing I'm really trying to communicate is you don't want to be in a situation where you feel like you weren't a good child and you have no way of rectifying that. You don't want to be in a situation where you are mad at your parent and then they die and now you realize how petty it was that you were upset. Something that's very, very small. And then not only is it petty, you were too immature to find out or even talk to them about what really happened. And I think that makes it even worse, because a lot of times miscommunication is the biggest challenge when trying to understand somebody else. So you may think that, okay, they were mad at me for, maybe leaving a cup out on the sink, and now you got into this big argument about this cup on the sink. And because in your mind you view them as a parent, you don't actually go to them and say, hey, what's going on? And then when you do that, you'll find out that, hey, I'm stressed about bills. I don't really know how to pay anything. Unemployment ran out. The guy I'm talking to cheated. And then you start to realize like, oh my goodness, it's not even really about me and this cup. But this cup just happened to be the last straw of whatever kind of stress they were going through. And once I think a person does that, you become a lot more mature. You really start to understand like, okay, everybody that's yelling at me is not really upset at me. They're going through something. They're actual people. They have a life that they have to live, and everything isn't just about, okay, what's happening, what I did to them. But you won't ever know that until you talk to them. And that's just talking to them as an adult. I think you need to also, if you have a weak relationship with your dad or your mom, whoever is the weakest one, go and find out whatever stories you've heard in your life. If you've heard some crazy story about one of your parents, talk to the other parent about it. Because what I've learned, both parents usually have different sides of the story. So one parent's going to say that, oh, this person went left, and one's going to say, no, they actually went to the right. And when you actually talk to both of them, you realize, okay, both of them were actually wrong, and the story that you've been living on your whole life is not true. You find out that they didn't actually meet here, or this lie never happened. There's a lot of things like that. But the main thing I'm really trying to get to, like I said, is I just want people to go to their parent and be like, hey, can we talk? How many boyfriends did you have when you were a kid? Like, when did you lose your virginity? Things that you wouldn't ask your parents, talk to them like they were regular people, and just keep trying to talk to them. And at some point, they're going to sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna ask these questions, and I think that will give you the breakthrough that people look for their parents, and it helps you to evolve as a person. We tried filming this podcast earlier, right? It's actually, today is Wednesday, and we have shot the podcast on Tuesday every day for a year now. And we could have shot the podcast on Tuesday, right? But we didn't. And I take full responsibility for that, because there are a lot of different things I could have done that day to make sure the podcast was shot. I think we went out to different places yesterday. I think that it was a lot of different things that were just happening throughout the day that caused us not to actually do the podcast on Tuesday. So the record is broken for a year of doing a podcast every single Tuesday. I don't really like it. I'm kind of like disappointed in myself for letting that happen, because I know that I could have made sure that it was done on Tuesday. And this kind of goes into what I feel like has been happening the last 2 or 3 weeks, where everything has kind of just been falling off. That in my opinion, the podcast is the anchor of my life right now. Like, every Tuesday is when we do the podcast. That's the thing that I know that, okay, we're doing this every single Tuesday. And I look at my life as, okay, if you have, let's say, an anchor or levels in your life, let's say that you have a routine. The more times you have a routine that doesn't work, I feel like the more you can realize that you're slipping in whatever you're doing. And you don't really want to slip all the way to the bottom. So in my opinion, the anchor for me is the podcast that's at the bottom. So it's like, if I hit that and I realize, okay, I'm going below that, that means that something is going wrong. I shouldn't be, mind you, I was going to the gym. I was doing real estate. I was doing electric diet. I was, what else was I doing? I was doing a wholesaling thing. I was doing a lot of different things, posting videos. I was posting clips of the podcast. I was doing a lot of different things every day or every week to try and get myself forward. And in over the last year, honestly, maybe 7 months or so, I can feel myself slipping, getting lower on the totem pole of what my routine actually is. And for me, like I said, it was the decisions I made each time that lead me to that. So yesterday we went out to eat, and we went to like a wake or something like that. And I could have been like, okay, you know what? I'm doing a podcast early in the morning. I could have been like, I'm not going outside. I'm doing the podcast right now. And I just kept saying, you know what? I'm gonna do it later. We could do it later. And then when later came, which was like, we had about a 2-hour span to 3-hour span at the end of the night, we ended up going to take my sister to her aunt's house to see the Airbnb. And we also picked up her sister from the airport. Now, if I really wanted to, I could have stayed at the Airbnb here and shot the podcast. But like I said, I am fully aware that anything that happens in my life is because of the decision that I've made and not anybody else. So that's why me personally, I'm like disappointed in that happening. I forgot about this too. I've been journaling. I haven't journaled in like 2 days. And like I said, these are the things that I know. If once I start seeing that my routine starts to slip like this, I go, okay, something is happening wrong. And the more that I let it slip, the worse things are going to get. Now, right now we're doing pretty good, but the only reason we're doing good now is because of what we did in the past. The things we've done up to this point have made it so that we could be in the situation we are now. Because there are times I could be like, listen, I can't go to Atlanta because things are too bad. I can't afford to go. I have too much things to do. But we have done enough work up to this point to allow us the freedom to come down here. So what I know is going to happen is the fact that I have not been keeping up with what I want to do is going to negatively affect me going forward. I don't really know how it is, but it's like the decisions I make now aren't going to really affect me now. They're going to affect me later. I don't really know how it's going to happen. I just know it's going to happen. So what my plan right now is to try and minimize whatever's going to come later by doing more now. I also have been trying, or I want to stop talking about as much as what I want to do, because I realized a while back when I was younger that the more you talk about what you want to do, the less it gets done. And I think the reason that is because you feel good saying the thing that you want to do. So you say, hey, this is my cat, Rock. So you say, hey, I'm going to do good. Or you say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. Hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to eat better. Hey, I'm going to go and whatever the case is, right? And once you tell somebody that, you go, oh, okay, they go, you gonna do that? You go, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And you feel like, yes, I feel good doing it. And you never do it. So I really believe, I've been trying to avoid it, but I feel like me being on the podcast talking about what I'm gonna do negatively impacts me. So I'm gonna try and maybe say it less or not talk about it as much. Maybe I'll say it once or not really harp on it. I'm trying to figure out where that line is at, because I know I feel good saying what I want to do, but because I feel good saying it, I don't actually get through doing it. Imagine, right, that you live in a shitty apartment, right? A very shitty apartment. Every day you wake up in that apartment, there's roaches, rats, mosquitoes in the apartment, right? And you have told yourself you want to move out of that apartment, right? That's what you say. So you know what? I really want to leave this apartment. I hate it here. I hate my life here. It's terrible, right? So every time you come home from work, it's a reminder to you how bad your life is in that apartment. So every day you get up and you work towards getting out of that apartment. And then comes a point in time where you actually get to the apartment, you actually get out of the apartment, right? And you go, okay, I feel good. I don't have the roaches. I don't have the rats. I don't have the mosquitoes in the apartment. I don't have any of those things. Now you feel good. But what happens is, now that you feel good, you don't really have the same motivation to do that work anymore, right? So I compare that to telling people what you want to do. Because imagine this, right? How many times have you felt like you want to do something, right? Actually, I would, instead of saying that, I'll challenge people to do this. This is a challenge for people, right? Think of something that you want to do and don't tell anybody about it until it's done. You can't tell anybody about it. If they ask you, you can't tell them if they ask. You can't suggest it or nothing. If you want to go to the gym, don't tell anybody you want to go to the gym until you went to the gym for a month straight. That's a long time. Let's say 2 weeks straight. Do that thing that you say you're going to do for 2 weeks straight before you tell anybody about it. And it'll be very hard for you to actually not talk about that thing. And that's the same stress I compare to living in the apartment. The stress of you having to hold that in when you have to be, because you don't feel good no more. There's no reason for you to, how can I put this? Yeah, you don't feel good anymore. You don't get that good feeling of somebody giving you praise and validation of doing what you want to do. So because of that, it's like, okay, you still feel uncomfortable every single day because you know you have not done that thing, and you know you have not gotten that good feeling from people saying, oh my God, you're amazing. You went to the gym today? That's great. You didn't get that. So do it for 2 weeks and then tell somebody you want to do the thing. I also have 2 updates on Philadelphia property. So we're doing our first draw. Oh, we have so much stuff I didn't even talk about. So... oh, you got it. You're funny. You're hilarious. So we have the draw for the property. So we're getting an inspection tomorrow. Hopefully we can start moving forward with that. I've been posting renderings on my Instagram of kind of what I want the apartment to look like. I found this cool website where I could kind of design it. I think my cats are hungry. Where I can kind of design it. So I've been posting that on my Instagram. As far as Airbnb goes, Atlanta has been an eye-opener because we went to an apartment yesterday, and I feel like the apartment we went to was not as luxurious as the apartment we went to in our Atlanta vlog. And that's really good because that means that there are a lot of apartments down here that we can actually use for Airbnb, as opposed to the high rises with the panoramic floor to ceiling windows with amenities and those other great things. We don't. Oh, y'all are funny. Yes. So, let me see, what else was there? Yes, I said that was actually really good to kind of find out that we can actually find a lot of places down here. So if we were moving out here before, it's definitely like 120% now. It's definitely not 100% anymore. It's definitely higher than that. We are 120% moving down here and getting an Airbnb. We may not get the floor to ceiling panoramic windows that we want, but we will for sure be down here this year. Once the property is finished in Philadelphia, which is taking a little bit longer than we wanted to because of the inspection period that's going on, as far as like, bruh, we have to put up $7,500 10 times to get the property finished. And if we had all the money at once, the property could have been done in 2 months, maybe 3. But now because we have to put the money up in this installments, it's like it's harder to actually do. Like I said, we ready to come to Atlanta. Obviously, we came down here for this. I love Atlanta. I also want to get a Tesla, but when we come down here to buy for driving around in Atlanta. And the video, we actually that video is not going to start yet, but the Philadelphia video is starting soon. Press the mute button. The Philadelphia video, when we went there, I had to edit that. Like I said before, I felt like life is not going the way it should. The dealer in the video wasn't shot, so it's obviously not edited. The video was going to Philadelphia is not edited. We have other videos need to be edited. We're just not on schedule. And then I just realized we have 2 kittens, as you can see here. You know, having 2 kittens, and then we just came from Philadelphia last week, and now we're in Atlanta this week. So all of those things combined makes for us not being as consistent as we want to be, but we're still trying. We have our equipment here in Atlanta. We're getting a video out, or recording the video out at least on Thursday. And I don't know when it's Wednesday. I don't know when it's going to be out because we don't leave until either later today. And it's a 14-hour trip to get back. So I really want to record this video here because I think that this is part of what it is to become successful. Is you just have to try and get things done. Things not going to go the way you want them to go all the time, but at the end of the day, you have to do what you can to get those things done, even when you have kittens walking around on the podcast table.
And I don't know, well, this is what you said earlier, I guess, with being off schedule. Because do you feel like that because of because you said the last 7 months, and I feel like it's a long time. Because that for the last 7 months, that would mean even when we were doing wholesaling heavily. So I'm kind of confused.
I think that it's going. I can see it going, getting to here where we are.
What do you mean?
Getting to the point where we don't have videos going out, where we don't have the podcast not going up. I can see it, how it gets to this before it gets to this. So if 1 or 2 things happen in January, I know that those things are going to end up here if they aren't redone. So like going to the gym. If we try to go to the gym, or not we, if I try to go to the gym and then I stop going to the gym, that's my routine. Then I'm like, okay, that shows me that this is an issue. I say I'm brush my teeth every day. I don't brush my teeth. I say I'm going to clean the house. I don't clean the house. The things that are leading me to make those decisions are what ends up here.
But I feel like what is here, like, because this is a very special situation. It's a very special case.
Not really. We're in Atlanta because I'm like, we could have shot the podcast yesterday if we really wanted to. We could have found time. It could have been like.
I mean, that's the thing. You would have had to done things prior to yesterday that would have allowed us to like do it yesterday, because you were up until like something 2-3 o'clock in the morning working on the video.
That should have been done. That could have been done before.
Yeah. So it's kind of like.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. It's the decisions that lead to that. So it's once that happens, okay, now I'm doing a video in the car on the way to the thing, in the front of the thing. They gotta redo it again. We're in the front. All of those things come from me not going to the gym, me not journaling, me not brushing my teeth. It's those things that lead to that.
Right now, we are trying to. I'm gonna hit up one of my cousins. I think he does credit repair, because AJ has not been very communicative. That's a word, with us about what's going on. He had told us a couple of months ago, or he told us 2 months ago. He said, "Yeah, your first round of funding will be in 45 to 60 days." That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I texted him actually after that time. So after 60 days, I texted him and said, "Hey, what's going on?" He responds by saying, "Hey, man, I called him after he didn't answer. He said, 'Hey, I'm on the road or something. I'll hit you back when I can.'" I said, "Okay." He texted me in the morning, like, "Hey, man, can't talk right now, but can you text what's going on?" So I texted him, "Hey, looking for the first round of funding." And he had said, "Yeah, before I actually texted that, funny enough, he had said, I can text you right now, I got to pull up your file for your first round of funding. And I was like, yeah, that's why I was hitting you up. I never got a response. So then following that, he posts on the story. He's like, yeah, I've been busy. I can't really talk to anybody, or I haven't got to respond to anybody about certain things or certain text messages or whatever the case might be. So in my opinion, I'm not fond of that kind of interaction, because I feel as though we've been left in the dark for a while now, and I don't really know what's going on with anything as far as the funding goes. So because of that, like I said earlier, I'm going to actually talk to my cousin about it and see what he knows about building business credit, because that was going to be the main thing that we used to move to Atlanta. But now that we have the apartment, which is crazy, because when we first did the AJ thing, we did not have an apartment. We didn't have a house. So that was even an option. Like, buying the house was not on our radar. So having the house and refinancing the house allows us to take the money out and move to Atlanta. So that either way, we're going to have the money to move to Atlanta once the house is done. That's the plan. So, I wish that the AJ thing was going better than it is, but I'm not really fond of where it is right now. So we're going to see what happens going forward. Obviously, I will keep you guys updated on that. But this is how kind of life goes. Things don't go as planned. They never do. You ever see those Instagram posts where they be like, yeah, success looks like this, and it'd be an arrow from the bottom to the top, and then they have next to it, oh no, it's really like this. It's mad squiggly lines. That's us. It's mad squiggly lines just everywhere. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna try this and do this and then crazy shit happens. And then we get there at the end. Like, we finally find a way to get there, but it's not like A to B. It's like A to lampshade to like chair. Like, it's not what you think it would be. So like I said, that's kind of where we are right now, and I just think that this is how it is. You come on here, we post, make our videos people could see, and I definitely think people are enjoying the videos. We are at 750 subscribers on the channel, so we're doing better with that. And I always look at it like this personally. The channel that we haven't even got it to the level of professionalism that I want it to be at. We're still trying to make a solid schedule, try and be consistent, and people still like the videos. So to me, that's a good sign. That just means that when we finally get to the point of where I want it to be at, people will really be able to thoroughly enjoy the content that we put out. So obviously, like, we're working on this series for the house flip, our first house flip, and wholesaling, sorta. Kinda. There's a deal right now in the pipeline that I'm like.
I was just thinking about that too, because another thing too is just like every 5 seconds you like, we're gonna find a way to buy this house. We're gonna buy that house.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, so it is a deal, right? And shout out to my man Chris. Shout out to you, bro. He brought a deal to me the other day, right? And these are the numbers for the property. The buy price is $165, right? The renovation is $120, so that brings you to like $280, and the ARV is like $440, $450. So we're talking about,
It's like a $200.
yeah, like $180, like $180,000 room for you to refinance or whatever you want to do, sell, whatever the case might be. You have room for that, and the rent area is great. So I want to buy the house personally. This wholesaling thing is cool and all, but I'm not a wholesaler. It's cool to the people that make money from it. Okay, so it's cool on YouTube. It looks cool on YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna say that this wholesale thing looks cool on YouTube, but it's not. And I would love to be able to buy that house and have, like I said, if you watch I don't know which video it is. It might be in a podcast, like the first one of this year, where we talked about our goals for this year. And on that list was buy 2 houses and get 2 Airbnbs, I think, or maybe 4. I don't remember the exact number, but I want to buy this house. So this will be Melissa's first time hearing this, but I wish that'd be amazing. So I found this website.
I don't like it.
And it's called fun.me, I think it's called.
Funny. I saw the email, dude.
Yes, them.
Email's funny. I found them before, but I didn't want to go forward with it without you. But I didn't know how you would feel. We were waiting for AJ. That's what happened.
So I filled out the application a little bit. Like, so they actually pre-qualified us for it. After I gave them the information, like, oh yeah, we would do this. They said an 8 to 11% interest rate for the house, and then we'll be able to refinance it. So right now they were asking me for the EIN number, which I don't have. So that's why I was kind of like, I mean, I don't have it. I think I know what it is, but I was like, once they asked me for that, we were sitting in the funeral home. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna try and double check this, text you, try to figure this out. I'm like, because at first, all the info was like, what's your name? What's the company name? I could just fill this out real quick. So I'm like, all right. So I'm gonna fill it out and see if we get approved. Because like I said, I will buy the house myself. Right now, me and Chris will wholesale it, possibly for like 10K each. No, 10K and 5K each, depending on what we get it at. But I think we could probably do 175 wholesale in that, or maybe do an 85 and they could come down to 175.
Where is this property?
Jersey. Why?
I wasn't sure if you.
What does that mean?
Oh, because we have a property in Philadelphia. We live in New York. We're trying to move to Atlanta, so you would think that maybe the property would be in one of those places, but
No, we are national investors, Melissa. We are countrywide, nationwide investors. Okay, we invest all over the country. All right, so that's what it's been with project. We're nationwide. So, listen, I don't know if we could buy it. I just think it'd be amazing if we can, because I know how to. Since we bought the first one, and now that we have a first one, and they actually even asked if I have a rental, and I'm like, I have a rental in Harlem, right?
You and this person,
right? And then I'm like, I have this one in Philadelphia, so I'm like,
yeah, that's nicer than one. That's nicer than one.
Right, that's exactly. So I'm like, hey man, and so now they're like, oh, you got two. I'm like, yeah, I do have two. So I'm just kind of like, I want to get it. I want to get it so badly. I want to fucking get it. But who knows? Who knows how we'll pull that off? If I make the 10K, then that'll be our first wholesale deal. If I don't, then we can buy a second house. And I'm actually waiting for that contract to come back, because I believe that Jersey is an attorney state. And is it? I feel like it is, because I called an attorney to close the
half and half.
I wish I knew that. Because I called the attorney to do it, and he has not really hit me up about it again. And I'm like, bro, moving kind of slow here. What's going on?
It's half and half. It's like, I think northern New Jersey is mostly lawyers, because that's where the more expensive houses are. And like southern New Jersey is like kind of title company.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna have to, because I'm like, I'm like, bro, I should have went with a realtor. Because I'm just like, bro, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't know, man. Like I said, things are happening. I just wish things were happening smoother. And I always feel like things are not happening smoother because of the mistakes that I make and the decisions that I also make. I feel like those lead to smooth outcomes. What happened?
It's just always weird for me, because I can't tell if I'm making excuses or if I'm taking into consideration just kind of like what's been happening. So that's just what it is, because it's like, we went to Philadelphia, we got kittens, we came here. And I think because we do so many different things in a day, it makes time go by faster than it is. So it feels like it's been 2-3 months since we've had these damn children, but it might have been a week. Has it been a week yet?
Monday was a week. It's going on 2 weeks.
It's not 2 weeks.
No, it's going on 2 weeks. Like on next Monday.
Next Monday, we just done. We just hit Wednesday. You keep saying Thursday. You're adding time to, because you're trying. I feel like you're trying to make it seem like you fell off crazy. Like, oh my gosh, it's been a month since I did the last podcast, and it's more like, no, Donivan.
Listen,
the next day. But I understand what you're saying, as in it's a slippery slope, and if you continue to push the boundary, it'll continue to be pushed.
Yes.
So having the rules and having it, being stable is very important. I just also kind of want people to understand too that it's not like I don't know. In my head, it's like it could be excuses. But my head is like, it's not like we were doing nothing. There was a lot of things going on. We had to take account of a lot of different perspectives, because I really wanted to see my family, and
that's what we did yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We saw my family. We went to the wake. We went
to Airbnb.
Got food, went shopping, had to pick up different things. So it's kind of like, if you had said, yesterday, like, no, we're not doing this, we're doing a podcast, I might have felt some type of way. So like, I hope that I appreciate that, we actually were able to do the things that we did, because it's not like you weren't doing anything during that time. We were doing things that I guess were important to, you know, other people, including myself, and I really appreciate that. However, you know, that's just what I want to communicate to you. Like, I don't want you to, like, I don't know if you feel like, damn, you know, I was doing nothing yesterday, just mad bullshit, and could be doing my podcast.
I mean, no,
I really appreciate.
Yeah, I yes, I believe that you would appreciate it. But my thing is,
My podcast comes first.
not even that. It's the fact that I just put everything before the podcast, and like I said, I don't put that onus on anybody else, because I am fully aware of the fact that I made decisions not to do that, like to not do the podcast. I decided to take, like, okay, let's go to your family. I decided to go with nephew to Airbnb. I decided to go to the Wake and stay there. I decided to not do the video in time. So I'm like, I'm fully excited. That's why I'm disappointed at myself, not anybody else. I'm like, I could have decided, okay, I'm gonna do the podcast at, what time did we wake up yesterday? We woke up at 7 yesterday. What time was it awake?
Nephew had to be there, I think, in the morning, early time-ish.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Yeah, we had to drop her off early.
I said I could have figured something out if I really wanted to. Like I said, I'm like, I know I could have.
The main thing was really the video, because we spent a lot of time editing the video in front of the thing. But I think other than that, I don't really know how you would move that stuff around.
I could have not went to get Alameda from the airport.
But then we wouldn't have seen the Airbnb. But you gained something from that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, yes, I gained something from it. Absolutely. But routine is not done. This Airbnb is not the best. Like I said earlier, if you want to get an Airbnb, you might want to pay $200 if it's more than 2 bedrooms.
It has wings. I'm going to die.
There's a spider right now climbing on a light with wings, according to Melissa. And yeah. So listen, that's the podcast we're at right now. This is going to be a special episode of just life update. Where we at, man? This is what we going through. This is how we at. I'm trying to figure out if anything else is happening right now that I can remember. We're leaving tomorrow. We still are now. This is the thing. We leave today. We are behind. We're not even like on task, because like I said, we did not do a Deal Later video, so that's not going up now. This video will go up who knows when, because I have to do it tomorrow, or edit it sometime tomorrow, have it out hopefully by Friday, and then maybe edit the other video when we went to Philadelphia, have that up. So like I said, we are behind. I don't like to be behind. I prefer to be ahead. I also don't want to be on schedule. I want to be ahead of schedule, because I know things always go wrong, and I want to be able to have the time to fix those things when they go wrong. Like I said, if I had done this video earlier, and I would have been ahead of schedule, but I'm not. I wasn't. So like I said, that's the thing on me that I have to do better at. But like I said, this is just a little update. I really wanted to have the podcast shot in a different environment to just show what it looks like when you are really trying to get to that bag. So it is what it is. If you haven't already, you can go check out social medias at DonivanGray, DonivanGray, and the phenomenal, beautiful, amazing, but beautiful AnetaBurn, AnetaBurn. And we have 6 different projects. We have the food project, the clothing project, the music project, the fitness project, the sports project, and the Bamboo Project podcast, which you are listening to right now. You know what it is. Hashtag Bamboo Project 2021. We going up all year, you know the vibes. And with that being said, Bamboo Project out. And we posted some videos, like some bloopers of how this situation went. I might post this morning. Yes, I'm post this morning, and I'm sitting here like, you know that guy in the meme with the fire? That was me. I'm just sitting here doing my podcast, and there's fire everywhere, and I'm just sitting here like, Bamboo Project. Welcome to the family. That's what I'm doing. So Melissa's gonna try and kill this flying spider with a. It's still hanging from me. Still hanging. So I don't have to go do what my boyfriend does of killing his flying spider. and I'm gonna just you gonna get up out of here, head back to New York, where there are no flying spiders. Oh, I'm like, what? I thought you were about to go kill a spider.
Hello?
This is recording?
You was on.
You want to have to turn your head over.
No, I'm not gonna look at it. So I need the charger for this.
That's what I need in my door. That's exactly what I need in my door.
You ready?
Yeah.
The Bamboo Project podcast starts in 3, 2, what?
Got it. Makeup, got it. Hair growth, got it. Real estate, got it. Basketball, got it. It's everything us. We post something on our story pretty much every day, so you can find me on Instagram at DonivanGray, DonivanGray. The Bamboo Project podcast, which you are listening to right now. This may be your first time here, and if it is, welcome to the family. But for everyone else, this is chapter 2, page 63 of this story. We are currently in Atlanta. We don't live here yet. Right, but we had to come down here because one of my family members' father passed away, so we are going to we're attending the funeral. So today's episode is going to be a little bit calmer and probably shorter than most episodes because actually we have to leave from here and then go to the funeral. We came down here on Monday and then Tuesday was the wake, and then today's actual funeral. So it's from 12 to 1, and right now it is currently 10:30. So we have to get ready after we do this, and then leave to get there by 1 o'clock. So we are in the Airbnb and we rented out, and right now I think when we got here it was me, my sister, my mom, Melissa, and my sister's boyfriend in Airbnb. Now, here's the thing, right? This is not really part of the update yet. I didn't really get that. It's kind of like an Airbnb. I definitely feel like, depending on how many rooms you want, general consensus is it's not the best Airbnb. It had a kind of weird smell when we first got here. What else was it? The smell was kind of off. The furniture is kind of dirty. It could have been, in my opinion, it could have been better. But for the price that we paid, I think it was a good deal. So my screen time. So right now, it actually went down to 15%. So it's the daily average right now, 6 hours and 27 minutes. So I mean, yeah, I think that's been better. We haven't really been on my phone as much because I've been driving a lot and been, in and out of the Airbnbs with the cat. Oh, we brought our kids down there too. So I kind of post a picture. We finally got them on the leash. So that's kind of, I post a video of that. You can see how that goes. And I'm trying to think of what. Let me scroll down. Alright, like this. I would do this one with that.
What? It's too much interruption?
Yeah, that's just a lot of stuff happening. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do it now.
We can give you what? A half hour to an hour?
Fish.